What four stages of life does every Hindu pass through? An important belief of Hindus is that there are four stages or ashrams of life every individual passes through. These stages are clearly defined. When one understands the four stages and how to respond to the changing circumstances in life, one can comprehend life in greater depth and achieve much more. The first stage of life is termed Brahmacharya Ashram. It extends from birth until the 25th year and is the period of celibacy. The religious texts direct that this period to be utilized to prepare one to be a good person. Through prescribed sanskaras, good habits, one must be inculcated and the period dedicated to educational effort. One must study under the guidance of a guru. Over millennia, circumstances have changed. The original Gurukul has given way to schools. Over millennia, circumstances have changed. The original Gurukul has given way to schools, colleges, and universities. However, the need have remained the same. Now there are several teachers and professors who play the Guru's role. The purpose of education too has remained the same. One needs to prepare for a career to earn one's livelihood, to support oneself and the family. The second stage of the life is termed the Grihasthashram. This extends from 25th year until the 50th year. In this stage, young men and women marry and raise a family. This is the householder's life and perhaps the most difficult stage when a person needs to interact with a variety of people and situations. Raising a good, happy family is in itself a challenging task. On one hand, a person needs to build a lifelong relationship with the spouse who may hail from an altogether different background. On the other, there is a problem of raising a new generation of children with raising needs and expectation. The professional life is no less challenging. One has to cope with both seniors and subordinates and also develop relationships in society. These relationships eventually influence the position and respect one enjoys in the life. The third stage is termed the Vanaprasthashram. This extends from the 50th year until the 75th year. At this stage, it is expected that children born from wedlock have grown up and found a place in the society. Daughters would be married and the sons will have entered into a career and will be well on their way to Grihasthashram. At this stage, while children are gradually detaching themselves from parents, it is expected that parents too will slowly detach themselves from the householder's responsibilities and spend time in preparing for a new life. It is believed God grants the human form to a person as a reward for past good deeds. It is in this form that an individual can strive to freedom from shackles of rebirths. This begins with gradual detachment from the family and the worldly possessions. To attain this, one requires understanding, faith, and devotion for the Supreme Spirit that controls the universe. The fourth stage of life is termed the Sannyas Ashram. This stage extends from the 75th year until the final emancipation. If the third stage aims at detachment from worldly life, this stage aims at renunciation, asceticism, and abandonment of worldly ties or mundane interests. At this stage, if one is at peace with oneself, he or she makes the final effort to find ultimate freedom from rebirth. Although Hindu tradition describes the four stages, each stage is not independent of the other, nor does one stage follow the other automatically. Nor does one stage follow the other automatically. One needs to strive to achieve the objectives of each stage. Only when one stage has been lived well, one can strive to achieve similar success in the next stage. Since life is necessarily an interaction between many people and situations, if a person fails to achieve complete success in one stage, one can continue to make up for shortcomings and ensure they are not repeated. If the Hindu way of life has prescribed certain objectives for each stage, it has also given direction on how these can be achieved. Hindu religious texts have solutions to a large variety of needs. In the chapters that follow, many directions given by religious texts are discussed for easier understanding. Rather than discuss the first stage of life, the second stage is discussed first. Marriage is a major event in the life of a young man and a woman. From marriage come children and therefore the upbringing of the children. The first stage is discussed next. The making of a good person is largely the responsibility of parents and teachers, besides the individual. Therefore, the revised order finally there is Vanaprasth and Sannyas ashram. Shri Krishna. So, to understand these four ashramas, let us have a look into someone who is a living example, who has set a legacy for us to understand the four different kinds of ashramas. First and foremost is Shri Krishna, Narayana himself. Other ideal iconic example is Shiva. There is this beautiful stotra which explains about how Shiva is an living example for us to take our life forward. The shloka goes like this: Karpuragauram Karunavataram Samsarasaram Bhujagendraharam Sada Vasantam Hridayarvinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. So, what I like about this stotra is that this is explaining about how Shiva is an yogi who is a great example for what we call as Grihasthashram. Karpura Gauram Karunavataram. Karpura Gaura. Karpura meaning camphor, whose aura is pure like that of the camphor. Karpura Gauram Karunavataram. Gauri's husband. Karunavataram. He is one of the most compassionate avatar. Karunavataram. Samsarasaram. One who has crossed the barriers of samsara. Samsara Saram, he has understood all the truths of the samsara. Bhujagendra Haram, who is he? One who is wearing the necklace of the Vasuki around his neck. Bhujagendra Haram, Nagendra Haraya. So he has worn around his neck the necklace of a serpent. Bhujagendra Haram. Sadavasantam, where does he reside? In the heart of us. Sadavasantam, he is always joyful. Hridayarvinde Bhavam Bhavani. With his Shakti, Shiva and Shakti together are worshipped all the time, and they are the iconic example for leading a very beautiful Grihasthashram life. So they have 3 to 4 children actually. 4 children, I don't really know the names, but one of the first child is Kartikeya. He is called Shanmukha because of there's a nice story behind it. I will express it in some other context. And then it is Ganapati. Then there is a daughter, Ashok Sundari, and the other 2 children born later, which are more like adopted by Parvati Devi. So their example is one of the most beautiful examples of Grihasthashram. And then obviously my favorite is the Krishna avatar. Here in Krishna avatar you can see how he he has led the life of all these kinds. You name the ashram, and he has given an example of it. So the Bala ashram, where he does his childhood plays, the Leela, and then the celibacy, where he goes to the Sandipani ashram and he learns from his guru, he gets his enlightenment, and the Ras Leela and all that has happened uh, during this beautiful golden time. And then he gets married to Devi Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, and Jambavanti, and so many things that happened after his Grihastha ashram. And then the Gita, the later part where he lives like a yogi, he exits his body like a yogi, and all that. So they say that Krishna is the highest form of uh, yogi. So he is called Yogeshwara Krishna. So this, I feel, is two of my favorite examples from our own scriptures. Then there are a lot more examples, but I took this short example to explain the 4 stages of human birth. So Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.